Morena, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us for our Zealed webinar series. My name is Rhonda and I'm going to be your moderator for today's webinar. We've woken up to level 2 outside of Auckland, so I imagine a lot of you have been rushing around getting your first coffee or getting a haircut or going to the gym. So that's a nice thing to wake up to, and am pleased for New Zealand getting this far. Hang on a minute, I've just got a message from someone. I just want to make sure everybody can hear me. Yep, hoping everybody can hear. Awesome. So today our webinar topic is email nurturing tips to convert and retain customers. In today's world where social media is a hot communication tool, email marketing is often forgotten about, yet it still remains one of the most effective and cheapest ways to engage customers. Our expert today is Lisa May. I'm just going to share my screen again so you can see Lisa and just go through to that screen. So Lisa Mayer is our Client Services Manager at Zealed. Lisa has had a varied background from working on dairy farms to leading technical projects for corporations. Lisa has been with Zealed for 6 years, where I've seen firsthand how her expertise has gotten online results for the SME business owner. So thank you, Lisa, for joining us today and for being our expert. Just some housekeeping first before I hand over to Lisa. So if you've not used webinars before, the tool here, there's a lot of tools at the bottom of the screen that can help you. If you can't hear me right now, just play around with those audio settings on the bottom left. They can really help. To select the right hearing audio settings for yourself. If you've got a question, there's a few different ways to do it. The first is to raise your hand. That brings you in live into the session. So it's probably not the best way to do it. The best way is probably to use the Q&A section where I can help reply via the messaging there. Or we can also, I can stop Lisa and ask questions. But I'll also be asking questions at the end of the session. So if you have questions at all and they're not getting answered immediately, don't worry, they will get asked to Lisa at the very end at the very least. So Lisa.
Thanks for having me, Rhonda.
No worries. I'm hearing you quite quiet, Lisa. Can you just try that again for me?
Does that work? No?
It might just be my settings. Is everybody, well, if anyone's not hearing her, if you can just message and then we can stop and get that sorted. But I think it might be my settings, Lisa.
Okay, cool. Hopefully. Cool, so I'll just share my screen. So yeah, today I'm here to talk about email nurturing and tips to convert and retain customers. So emails are probably one of the most largely underutilized aspects of digital marketing. It's also one of the cheapest ones to utilize as well. And if you have a good email marketing plan in place, it can do wonders for your business. So like it says here, we're looking at converting, so actually converting people through this, but also retaining. So I think everyone's very aware that we probably all have times where we get annoyed at maybe the power company because you see them doing lots of deals for new customers and come with us, come get a free TV or a free washing machine, and yet the customers that they actually already have on board, there's not many offers out there for them. So we're looking at both ends of the scale here. So to begin it, we're just going to go through a little bit about email marketing and the nurturing campaign. So email nurture campaigns are a series of emails delivered to leads and customers, and it's aimed to guide them through this buying process. So it involves the creation of relevant and engaging content strategically sent through to stay top of mind until a lead is ready to purchase, or until the lead has already made a purchase and is coming back to repurchase off your website. So things to really consider when starting to create this campaign is the lead database is that, sorry, having your lead database divided into different segments. So when you're doing these types of campaigns, you want to make sure that you're targeting your emails and your particular campaigns towards the right database. So for example, there's no point offering people that have only signed up for email marketing and maybe not converted yet by purchasing your service or your product. There's no point seeing them return customer emails or 10% off for purchasing again or something like that. So making sure your database is divided into the right segments is key. Then making sure, this is where it leads on to, having that tailored content for them. So using my example previously as well, you know, so prospects, no point giving them return customer content. In particular, like if you offer a certain service or a product and there's tips and tricks to using it, you would want to tailor that towards a existing customer who's actually purchased it. So maybe some videos, etc., on how to use it. And it's more a service-based copy that you're looking at. Whereas if it was a new prospect, someone who hasn't yet purchased your service or product, you can still share tips and tricks with them, but you would write it in a different way that has more of a sales spin to it. So something that's going to lead them through to convert on your website. And then the very key thing, which actually is not only key in email marketing, it's key in all your marketing, is having unique and relevant calls to action. So this is where you're going, what I send this client this email, what action do I want them to take? And that is your call to action. So if it's as simple as you want them to come through and look at the product and purchase it, then it's buy now and you're sending them to your website product to purchase. If it's find out more and maybe a nice landing page where you have some more information about your service, then it would most likely be a find out more or more information call to action. So that's very key. And it's always best to have some form of call to action within your email marketing, because otherwise people are just getting an email and then they're closing out of it and they're not progressing anywhere through to your site or even your social medias. And then another thing to consider is how big your database is and how much you're attempting to complete and do within your campaign. So this is where you might want to look at things such as automation software. And we are going to go through some examples later on. But this is where you can set up what's called autoresponders so that the process is taken care of for you. And so we've got, well, I've got quite a few different examples of this coming up. So why email? Okay, so not only did I cover at the start, you know, it's one of the less utilized, but it's one of the cost-effective marketing tactics as well. But here we go. So it is most effective and it's a cheapest tool for lead nurturing. So it will help you gain your customers' attention as well as build connection and trust. I do want to highlight though that yes, it is most effective and it is one of the cheapest tools. It is a slower marketing tactic. So when we talk about marketing tactics, we have like Google Ads. Google Ads can be quite instant. Google Ads means that you are bidding on keywords that people are searching for, and if your ad displays for that keyword, they may click it because it's at the top of the research results. Whereas email marketing is one where you're going out to a larger database and you're aiming to get a percentage of that database to read the email and click through. What I do know is that it can actually take a lot of emails over time, not all at once, but a lot of emails over time for people to then take that next step. And that's just the nature of it. So if you are looking for something quick and fast, then email's not going to be for that. But if you are looking at that ongoing nurturing and retaining customer sort of pathway, then this is perfect for that scenario. So yeah, it helps you build that connection and trust over a long time. And it also helps you stay front of mind, okay? So for most of the emails that we're going to cover today, it is very much a set it and forget it type scenario. So it can be done through automated email workflows or autoresponders, and it can be done through campaigns as well, depending on the software that you have available. So another reason why is it can be very specific and targeted messaging. So when, again, if I compare it to something like ads, with ads, you're looking at keywords, and yes, you can have some targeted messaging about your brand or your business, about your product or your service that relates to that keyword, but it's not specific to the person, because someone who's an existing customer could still be clicking on your ad to come through to your website. So the email lets you target specific people depending on how they've interacted with your business previously. And so you can be targeting them in that nature, which makes it feel slightly more personalized, which does help to build that connection and trust. It is also a very good tool as well to then acquire feedback from your real customers. So from people who have purchased, you can have them in a group, you can be getting reviews, you can be getting feedback, you can even be doing sort of test scenarios on them if you sort of have a bit of a survey you want to do, so you maybe know where to move next with your business. It's also very easy to track, and I would always recommend any campaigns you look to do that you track your results. I mean, any marketing in general, you should track results, but here you can track the open rate, so how many people actually open the email, how many clicks, so how many people click through from the email through to one of your call to actions, and also you can track how many people unsubscribe. In terms of unsubscribes, I don't think you should get caught up on numbers if they are constant, because that's generally the case with email marketing. However, you need to look at it as a percentage of your overall database and how many are unsubscribing overall. So it's likely that you'll get one or two, well, again, depending on database size, you could get one or two each time you send an email. But if you're starting to get most of the people unsubscribing, then it's a good time to take a step back and look at what's happening within the email. So covering off some benefits as well of your lead nurturing. So it's a way to really keep your customers engaged. So according to Marketo, on average, half of leads at any given time are not yet ready to make a purchase. So we have a lot of information in front of us now, thanks to the internet, and a lot of people are willing to do research and find out more before they make a buying decision. So generally, when people are coming to your website, they may be doing research first. So according to Marketing Sherpa as well, almost 80% of new leads never end up making a purchase. So this comes back to people researching, and it might be that they're actually not ready to make a decision at all right now. For example, I've spent probably over the last year, I've been doing research on a fence that I want, but I'm quite particular, and I've reached out to a few companies, but I've actually not gone through to make a purchase because I want to get the right thing in place, and I don't want to sort of rush into just getting something up. So it is very common that people won't make purchases as well. But what email does, and in particular if it's the nurturing campaign, it will help you continue to build trust and help them move through the entire buying process. So that is your goal within your campaigns, is when it's lead nurturing, to be guiding them through this buying process. It then helps you create a lasting relationship with these customers and potential customers. And that obviously leads to either a one-off purchase. So maybe if you're a service or you're a product that maybe someone doesn't buy too often, it could be a one-off purchase. However, you could still get repeat purchases by them sharing with their friends and family. Hey, go to this website, go purchase this. This has been fantastic. Or this person came in and they delivered the service for me. It was fantastic. Go purchase it. So that's a different way you can get repeat purchases from one customer. But if it's a product or a service that people use quite often, then obviously the email marketing campaign will help keep bringing them back to you as well. So further benefits, so it can help address common questions or concerns. So on a website homepage, one of the areas that generally should be there is an area which it's not called a features and benefits area, but it's an area where you're sort of addressing why people want the product and what benefits they have. So that helps with any questions or concerns they may have. An email marketing campaign, in particular for lead nurturing, can also help with this. So email lead nurturing uses relevant and personalized content to engage with customers. You know your customers' pain points or maybe common questions they ring and ask you about. So this is a good area to be answering those. So you can use this to address common questions or concerns that may prevent your leads from making a purchase. You can create different types of content, such as a blog. So blogs are really good for tips and tricks or sort of what's happening in the industry at the moment. Direct emails, so emails where you are just putting the information in there and getting out to the customer. Or you could be repurposing your social media posts to provide them this information as well. And what it will do is just get them deeper into the conversion funnel. Then we have other benefits. So when we have a customer that has come on board and you know you have other sort of services or products that may assist with what they're looking at or what they're doing, you can use your email to help with cross-selling or upselling to your customers. So email is a very great way to not only promote conversions, but also identify these cross-selling and upselling opportunities. So what you're doing with it is you're increasing your customers' awareness of your offers and you're encouraging them to consider bundling single items with other items in your range or services. It's a great way to increase the awareness and potentially increase your average order value as well. So for some people, I mean, if I go back to my fencing, one of the biggest problems I actually had was most of the companies I was reaching out to only sold the components for the fence. They did not sell, well, they did not come and actually have it in and put it in place for me. So that's something to consider. Do you have opportunities like that where not only someone maybe buys a product off you, but you can help them install it or help offer some sort of service to that? Again, do you sell a product that needs to be serviced every 1 to 2 years? Is this an opportunity for you to sell some sort of maintenance program like that alongside it? Or likewise, you sell a service and it's a service where generally people should maybe come back every 8 weeks or every 3 months to have the service again. So this is another opportunity to sort of show them what that could look like, and potentially, you know, your upsell may be that if you book in 10 sessions that you get 10% off your, you know, 5th and 10th one or something like that. So the email is a great way to share that information and in particular target those customers to let them know about cross-sell and upsell opportunities. So email marketing tools. So we're just going to cover a few of the top platforms that are out there in the market. So what you have is Mailchimp, and Mailchimp, I forgot a zero here. Mailchimp allows 12,000 free emails to up to 2,000 subscribers. So that means if you have 2,000 people in your database, you can send them each an email, not doing quick math, 6 times within, I think it's a month. So that's what it is there. We also have Constant Contact. So that's another top platform you can use in the market. So these ones that I'm covering off here, they're ones that are utilized in the market, and most of them have more of this automation flow that I've been talking about, and that I'll cover off a bit more in the next few slides as well. But you also have things like Campaign Monitor, Get Response, and then we have one like our Zest email marketing. I know that Shopify has email marketing in it as well. For your website, if you're on WordPress, generally you have a connection to one of these email marketing tools. So each of them have different automation aspects to it. some which Campaign Monitor, and I think the other one's Active Campaign. Now these ones build out full campaigns and full automation where it's a real set and forget, whereas such as Mailchimp, email and Zest email marketing, for example, these very much work with autoresponders and not so much a full campaign. So it's good to sort of map out what you're wanting to do and then looking at what tools will help you achieve what you're wanting to do. If they're ones that maybe you don't have the budget for right now to get set up, then it might be just tweaking a few areas of what you want to do and making something that's more affordable and be able to meet those goals. So another aspect is building your email database, which I think is very important to cover off since we covered off some tools. So the people who have signed up to receive emails from you already know and trust your business. So on the homepage, you probably have a little section that goes sign up for our emails or sign up for our newsletters. And that's generally where people have signed up in some way, shape or form to receive emails from your business. So it's a perfect opportunity to use this to your advantage by delivering, engaging and personalizing your email content. In particular, if you have said specifically what they're signing up for, then make sure that you are grouping those people into a group so that you know that, okay, people who signed up here signed up for my newsletter, they will get a newsletter. Okay, there's no point sort of sending them other stuff when they have actually requested for a newsletter. Likewise, if you don't have a newsletter, then don't tell people they can sign up for one. So that's sort of what you'd be looking for and grouping your clients according to that. For ones that have actually made a purchase or purchased a product or service through you, you may want to group them through to customers in a group that way. And so when you're delivering content to them, you know that they're existing customers who have actually made a purchase. And so you're looking for tailoring your content towards those groups. So a good list building campaign starts off with an offer in exchange for your customers' details. So like I pointed out with that little email newsletter, you're offering them a newsletter for their email address. For some, you may be offering an ebook for their email address and that you need to send the ebook through the email. So yeah, offer a promo code as well as another one. So that's when more likely e-commerce, so product purchasing online. So that's where maybe you go sign up, get 10% off your first order, for example there. A monthly incentive. So it might be, well, you could do a monthly newsletter, but it might be, you know, get $5 off each month. It's a tutorial webinar email series. So most of you would have experienced today. We've just asked for your email address in return for the webinar that you're attending today. So that's another way that you can do it. Tips and tricks or blog type scenarios. So this is again the newsletter type of aspect. So asking, we'll send you tips and tricks on these services or products if you pass us through your email address. So know your target and start with relevant offers to attract them. So you want to know where this target customers are and what you think will most likely get them across the line. And then you can build your list and continue to offer value to these prospects and customers to keep them engaged. So key elements of an email strategy. So first of all, and I've said it a few times now, it's your target audience. So you really need to understand your subscriber and start thinking about what types of emails you plan to send. So this is where I said, if you've asked someone to sign up for a newsletter for their email address, you need to be sending a newsletter. So if you can't commit to something like that, then you may need to look at something else that you're asking them to sign up to. And likewise, you won't be sending a prospect an email for a return customer either. So you need to just sort of target these audiences and really understand what they've subscribed for. Your timing and frequency as well. So you need to determine how often you send to your subscribers. So this falls under target audience as well. So the two link in, but it's a good idea to sort of space out your emails so that you're not bombarding someone with offers or with information. So with most people, you know, once a week can work, but you need to also consider the time you have to set aside to be putting together content all the time for your emails. So sometimes it might be better that it's a once a month thing as well. So work out what works best for your business. Your open rate, and subject lines. So open rate is the amount of people, percentage of people who open your email. And this is largely influenced by the subject line and then other factors. So your subject line is very important. It needs to grab attention quickly. So if I received an email that just said, this email's for you, I'm probably not going to look at it. But if the email was sort of something I'm interested in, so maybe something about sustainability, or, you know, a new service being released by a company I'm interested in and it's quite attention grabbing, I'm more likely to open that email to have a quick read and work out if I want to continue to read it. The other factors involved with this is just, it comes back to timing and frequency as well. How often am I sending emails? If I'm sending them too often, it's likely to affect the open rate as well, because people will just start going, oh, another email, I don't have time for that. Then the next thing is the click-through rate is something else you want to be focusing on. So how many people are actually clicking through to your links in your email? If you have 0, the first thing I would always say at that point is go through your email and make sure everything you can click on goes through to the right page, because that could be an issue. Also make sure that it's all tracking correctly as well by doing those tests yourself and clicking through and seeing that it's reporting through. But ultimately you want to keep an eye on click-through rate to see, is your content, now that you've got them past the subject line, you've actually got them in the email, is the content within the email making them want to take that next step? And is there areas that maybe stand out more and you're getting more click-through on? So that might be a key to what content you need to deliver. Or is none of the content really taking off and you really just need to go back and think about what your clients or prospects may want? So key elements of an email strategy continued we have is optimization. So one thing you need to really make sure is that your emails look good on multiple devices as more and more people open their mobiles on mobile phone. So I know that's very key. You want it to be looking good on mobiles, iPads, computers, everything. And the reason for this is it needs to be easy to read. But a key thing here to be aware of is that it may not look perfectly the same on every single type of device. So Microsoft or through Outlook does read a little bit of code differently to what Gmail does. While it won't skew and change it massively, it might mean that there's a bit less padding between a picture and some text. So that's just what we're thinking about there. It's nothing major, but be aware that it's not going, it potentially cannot look the same on all of them. And then personalization as well. So how personal and relevant your content is to your customers. So this is a key part and really would come down to the content you need to write. So you want to make sure that you're targeting the right information and making it personal for them. One easy way to make it very personal to people is just to have hi and their first name at the start. So then it's like it's written to them. Another way to make it personal is actually having it come from an address that's more, an email address that's more personal than maybe just a random, you know, sales at Zeld, for example. That's not as nice of an email to get. Whereas if it came from Lisa at Zeld, it might be feel more personal to your customers. And then another key element, like I said, so flow or automation steps. And this is what, on the left-hand side, what a flow or automation step could look like. So it's pre-set up series of emails sent to your customers. This could also be in the space of autoresponders. So just a little bit about this, you can use these areas to sort of go, look, once you get a contact in, you can split them into the campaigns depending on what's happened. You can have them look at email A or email B, And then depending on what happens after that email, what the customer or prospect does, it then can lead on to a different email that sort of leads them down that right flow. So that's sort of how that works. You can go very advanced on this, but I would suggest if you're starting out or it's something newer to you, that just keep it simple for now. And generally the best way to start is probably autoresponders. If you're looking at flow or automation series, you would also need to put a lot of time into creating content for the emails and then continually optimizing them as well. So just think about where you are in terms of your business and your goals at the moment before you go straight to this automation space. So now covering off some types of emails you can send, because I think this is going to be key just to get the ideas flowing, get those, creative thoughts happening. So what we have here is newsletter emails. So I've talked about this quite a bit already. So newsletters are types of emails that contain the latest updates, news, and information about your brand or industry. So I think they're an easy and a great starter email to do. You can kind of put a few different things in there, and because it's a newsletter, it's okay. People are used to having sort of newsletters or sort of pamphlets that they see if you're out and about, which has a little bit of everything in it. So these can be sent weekly, monthly, or quarterly. I would suggest monthly is generally a good one, but if your industry doesn't have much going on, or as a business owner you can't commit to monthly, then quarterly is fine, or maybe every second month. It can both be for promotional and nurturing. So this is where I'm saying newsletters are great because you can have a bit of everything. So you could have something where you start off going, hey, this one's really good, staying bulletproof on the go. So it's giving people tips and tricks about how to stay bulletproof on the go. And then right underneath that, it leads into the promotion. So it's featuring their best sellers and encouraging people to purchase. So awesome way to get basically target both types of customers if you don't have the time to do separate emails. So it has to deliver relevant and valuable information to your customers though. So don't just sort of chuck together a newsletter and think, I'll put anything in there. There's no point sort of releasing some business news that maybe customers that won't really, go, oh yeah, that's awesome. They might go, oh, I don't really need to know that. So make sure you are getting those targeted. You will be able to see this from sometimes your past emails you've sent. So, you might put something in, you see that it didn't really get a great read amount or it didn't get any click through. That can be a key way to go, well, what information should I put in these in the future? So that's one way to tell. And then next one is content emails. So moving on from newsletters, we have content emails. So these are definitely nurturing emails to keep your list engaged with your business. So when they need your product or service, you are top of mind. So these are really good ones that you do for prospects or people who have not yet made a purchase with you. And these are the emails where you're trying to build that trust and credibility between you and this person, and you're trying to show them that you're the best in the industry or that you're the one they should choose. And like it says here, top of mind. So one of the biggest things is people may not read these emails, and that's okay. I said it with a little bit of hesitancy. That's okay, because what else it's doing is it means you keep being in their inbox and they keep seeing your business name or your emails. And even though they might not read every single one, they might only read the odd one, what you're doing is you're keeping your company there in their mind. So when they're ready to go, oh yeah, I want to actually do that fence now, it would be, oh yeah, I've got those emails. That company keeps emailing me. Let me go and get in touch with them first. So it's that sort of thing, that sort of lead nurturing that you're looking at there, and how you're looking to convert them with content emails. So these again need to though have relevant, informative and engaging content. I always suggest this is where you look at repurposing your content. So if you are doing social media or blogs, etc., that you're pulling some of that content into these. And here we go. So it can be in the form of guides, tips or blogs. So that's sort of what you're looking at there. Then another type of emails you can send we have here is product review emails. So this is great at retaining customers and knowing what they do and don't like as well. So getting a little bit of information for yourself. So one great way to generate testimonials is from happy customers. And to do that, sending product or even service review, it doesn't have to just be product. You can send them emails to basically ask them to review your products either on your website or through Google reviews or Facebook reviews. And if you need to, you could even get to offer an incentive in exchange for the review. So this email should only be sent should be sent at least a few days after the purchase was made. So at least make sure that they've received the purchase or that they've had the service before you send this email. But it's a real great way for you to generate those testimonials and reviews. And like I said as well, it's also a good way to see if the quality of your products or your services are where you want it to be. And if if there's a top seller in there that you weren't quite sure about. So that sort of helps give you some inner business knowledge as well. Then another one that you can send to existing customers is you can send these customers a few product suggestions based on their past order. So again, product or service options. So if you're selling clothing, they may have purchased a nice blouse. And so you might go, here's about shoes or accessories that work with that top. If it's a service, like if someone starts getting lawn mowing through your company and you actually do more landscaping, you might send them some further emails down the line to go, hey, did you know that we also do garden weeding? Did you also know that we can, do the planting and create spaces for you in your garden? So, that's this type of way that you can go with cross-sell emails. And so what you're also doing with these is you're reminding your customer of their previous purchase. So in particular, if you know you've delivered a great service and you know that your product's fantastic, it's reminding them of that experience, and it should be generating quite happy thoughts at that point, which leads them to be more likely to purchase. I would always suggest at least 3 products or services. If you don't have that many, that's fine. Just offer the 1 or 2, but the 3 is generally a good number because what it's doing is it's getting them to actually think through a range. Whereas if you do 1 product or service, they can easily go, oh no, that's not for me, and move on. Whereas if you have 3, they're actually having to go through and go, they might go no, but then the next one might be a yes. And so one thing that we all know in sales is you've got to work through all the no's to get a yes. And so by offering a few more, you can increase those chances of a yes. It can also be a series of emails instead of a one-off. So some ways you might see people do this already is they send one that's quite, you love your recent purchase, here's some other things you might love. Then what you might do is a month later go, see our new best sellers or see our new releases or see my new service or something. So you're actually showing them something new and it's still based off what they've purchased previously. So that's another way you can involve with these cross-sell emails. Then again, for customers who maybe haven't really come back for a service or a product recently, there's win-back emails. And these are key, and the timing on these are very important as well. You don't obviously want to be sending this within a month, unless you're a monthly service. But you sort of want to time these around the 3 to 6 months, 6 months, 12 months, probably even better, depending on what your offer is. So these are sent out to subscribers who have been responsive to your previous emails or generally inactive. So you're looking at people who haven't really purchased it or got a further service from you. So Here, yeah, sent after 6 months or more of inactivity is generally key. You can make it a bit shorter than that, like I mentioned, but it really comes down to how frequently your service or your product should be purchased. That's what you've got to be thinking about there. So it can be comprised of one or more emails as well. So it's not one that you just send off once. You could have a 6-month one, you could have an 8-month one, and then you could have a 10-month one. So it's one where you can, again, send it in a pattern. Generally, if people get to a point and they don't want it, they would unsubscribe. And that's okay, because then you're actually getting your emails to the right place. And I think that's probably a key thing I should just say. Having unsubscribes is okay. It means that you can then focus on delivering your emails to people who do want them. But again, like I said earlier, just be watching those numbers a little bit in case you're getting massive amounts of people, and then you might need to look at what you're sending them. So for these, you can also include social proof bestsellers or discounts to entice customers to come back. So what I'm trying to show here is that you don't have to always go enjoy 25% off your order. Sometimes you can go, look at what these other people have said about these products or about my service. You're reminding them of how good your service or products are, and then enticing them to come back with maybe some top products there. Or you can go, these are my best or my new releases, thought you might be interested type of email. And then the next one, which falls well with the win-back email, but also this is now tailoring towards your current customers who maybe are purchasing off you more often than not, is offer a special discount for your customers' next order or reorder. So this one I see a lot. You may do it in email. I know some people, when I've purchased products, they actually send me a little card with a little coupon code on it. So offer a special discount for your customers' next order or reorder. So according to the Temkin Group, loyal customers are 5 times likely to repurchase and 7 times likely to try a new offering. So use this opportunity to provide discounts and encourage repeat purchases. So if you're sitting there going, I'm a one-off service or I'm a one-off product, so I'm something that people don't purchase often. This is where I think like HelloFresh and My Food Bag have done really well in how they do their offer. What they do is they give you a coupon code for your friend. Okay, so not only are they asking, they've got your service, they're now going, can you put it through, can you get your friend this coupon code, and both of you might get 10% off. So this is where they're actually gathering another customer as well as getting you a discount, but it means that you're asking your customer to also do something for you first. So think about your discounts, and I think there's some very clever ways that you can be putting these together to your clients so that you're not always just going, oh, I'm having to give money off, because I know sometimes profit margins can be quite lean. So one of the biggest ones, and I do sort of lead this towards the end, is send a thank you email. So thank yous go a long way. Appreciation goes a long way. So sending a thank you email is standard practice for e-commerce business, and most of us will see it on the order confirmations. So the receipt that you send generally goes, thanks for your order. You can customize that a bit further to kind of make it stand out. And I think that's important because, here we go. It's important just to really thank them and make it personal. Okay, so not only have you done it through the receipt or a little written note, but you can take it one step further and just have an email that really thanks them. Sometimes you might also put this in with an offer, but you're just sort of saying, hey, thanks for choosing my business. Thanks for choosing my service. I really hope you enjoyed it. We as a business are really trying to deliver something or have a product that really stands out for people. So it can make a huge difference to them. And then, like I said, you can also use this opportunity to provide those incentives or discounts or start cross-selling by offering your other products, or asking them to tell their friends or get a review. So it's a good leading email into some of the other ones I've talked about today. And then, as always, customer feedback is your last touch point in this process, okay? So when you're doing these emails, you really want to think about getting some customer feedback at the same time. So don't be afraid of feedback. Feedback, good or bad, can help you grow and improve your business. And it can come through many mediums. So ensure any valid suggestions are acted on. So even though it might not be the best feedback, if there's some valid suggestions in there, it's good to sit back and think about them. Oh, so some examples here of items you can use for feedback. SurveyMonkey. So SurveyMonkey sends off little surveys that you can just ask a couple of questions and people can answer. Post-sales autoresponders. So you can, oh, that one popped up by itself. Autoresponders. So you're actually just asking them to sort of click through and read something and fill out some answers or respond to you with a review. And then there's other customer service surveys as well that you can send, such as these ones, where it's just a short little form. Maybe it's on your website and they can just fill this out and send it through. So getting near the end, I've run over a little because I've just had a lot of information, but email best practices. So number one is test your subject lines. So keep subject lines really short. I think, well, it says no longer than 60 characters, which I believe is about 8 words, and not super long words, but short, snappy sentences, okay? And then provide a sneak peek of information of what customers can expect to find inside. So this generally is like the first line or so of the email. And that's why we would not always say to put an image right at the top of the email, because sometimes this can stop what this little preview of the email can look like. You can also A/B test on most email platforms your subject lines to determine which ones work best. So basically this is just sending the same email to 2 different, like split your group in half, send it to both different groups with different subject lines and determine which one gets more opens. Then 2, I've mentioned this, so test your email content. Always send some to yourself or to your friends or other people that work in your business to make sure everything's working fine before you send it out. You need to check for any missing content, any broken or incorrect links. Broken and incorrect links are a biggie because these are generally your click-throughs, your call to actions through to your website. Then 3, so you want to avoid spammy content and subject lines. So spam filters look for all uppercase letters in the subject line and in your emails. Too many exclamation points, punctuation, emojis, and gimmicky words and phrases such as free. So it's generally not a good idea to put it at the top of your email, free giveaway or free offer or free discounts, or words like that are going to most likely have your email end up in the spam space in people's inboxes. So that's just an automatic filter. There's not much you can do about it. It's a system that's there. And so you just need to take that into considerations when you're doing it. Another way around this though is that you can be asking your clients to, check that you're marked not as spam, but that's a harder option. It's best to work on your subject line so that they're less likely to be picked up by spam filters. Then number 4 is be on top of your subscribers. So remove inactive subscribers who haven't opened emails or engaged with you for a specific time span. So yes, you can move them into a group that maybe you do those win back emails to, but it's good to stay on top of it. Otherwise, what you can easily end up doing is having this massive database that you're sending emails out to that's costing you money, but you're actually not having anyone read them. So just make sure that you spend maybe once every quarter just going through and reviewing who's in your subscription groups and moving them into the better maybe groups for them. And then don't let your list go stale. If you have long periods between email sends, subscribers may forget about your business and the fact that they signed up to receive emails. So what generally happens in this is you send an email again and they decide to straight away unsubscribe or mark as spam because they do not remember you. So this is where I generally suggest, and why I generally suggest monthly emails if you're looking to do newsletters, etc. 2 monthly, every second month, sorry, if you are a bit stretched for time. And quarterly is an absolute must. Have to if you really don't have the time. But if you are looking at quarterly, I would suggest that you have some other emails in place that can just fill those gaps. And then keep an eye on soft and hard bounces. So soft bounces are when the recipient's email is full or unavailable. So these are maybe people have shut down their email address and so they're not getting it anymore. Whereas hard, I got that wrong, sorry. Hard bounces are usually, no, that is right, yep. So hard bounces are usually from invalid email addresses. So those that have been entered incorrectly and should be removed. So a great example, last night, my mum rang me because she accidentally wrote her email address wrong on something and needed my help to fix it. She put double L in Outlook instead of one L. So she was worried that she wasn't going to get the email she needed to get. And that's what you're looking for there, because you don't want to be getting lots of bounces back. So then we have number 7, so an unsubscribe option. So this is an absolute must. Every email you send that is a marketing email has to have an unsubscribe option. These are normally in the footer of the emails, but it is a must-have, and you must be able to provide that to your clients. If it hasn't worked and they email you separately asking to unsubscribe, then you must action that as well. With the unsubscribe, you do not need it on transactional emails. Transactional emails are emails such as the receipts from when someone does make a purchase through your website, or if you provide a weekly service and you need to email them to let you know maybe a bank account is being updated. Those are transactional emails that are not looking at promoting or marketing anything and are okay not to have an unsubscribe option. Then another aspect just to help with your email marketing campaigns and to consider if you're wanting to sort of look at next steps is what's called a paid remarketing campaign. I'm not going to go too much into this. We do have webinars that cover this off, but it is just to know that this is a good item to pair, a good tactic to pair. So a paid remarketing campaign is another way to connect with customers by setting these up through Google Ads and Facebook. So what it does is it triggers the recurring sales and cross-selling. So you can repurpose content you're using in emails and put them into your remarketing campaign. It aims at those who have visited your shipping, aim for those who have visited the shipping and returns policy page. So if people maybe haven't quite made a purchase, it should also have add to the cart page and checkout page here, but maybe not the purchase. You're aiming for these people because that means they've actually looked at, hey, how long will this take to get delivered to me, or what are their terms around it, or what happens if I'm not happy and I need to return it? So they're good people to target because it means they're right close to that buying stage. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, a remarketing campaign can also be used to people who have abandoned their cart. So they've maybe started filling out the checkout and they've finished. You can also do emails to these people, but remarketing is another way you can look at this. And that's all from me today. Questions?
Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much. I think it's interesting that email marketing seems to be, well, on the outside, it can look like a boring or very straightforward thing that we're all very familiar with. But I think what's become very obvious to me through your presentation and through what you're saying is that it can be a lot more complex and a lot, its use more than just a newsletter. You know, its use quite wide. Yes. And I know we're running a bit late, but if anybody's got questions, please just pop them in the Q&A section down the bottom there, and we will just go over. But do know that we will be putting up a recording of this so that you can go over it if you have to leave now. But Lisa, one question that I did have coming through was, so if someone buys from you, but has not specifically signed up to the newsletter, you know, they haven't gone in and put their newsletter in a little bit on your website, can you still send them a newsletter?
So yes, you can, and it does come down to your terms and conditions. So generally when someone checkouts on your page, or they can purchase your service online as well, you would have them agree to the terms and conditions, and within your terms and conditions you can mention around the consent to basically receive content from you in the form of emails. So that is possible. I just thought I'd quickly cover off that there are 3 types of consent. with emails.
Yes.
Yeah. So the types of consent is, the first one is express consent. So that is when someone has come to your website and gone, oh, sign up for email, and they actually go, yes, I want to do that. So that is them going, yes, I completely give it to you. Let me have your emails. The next is inferred consent. And so this probably is one of the ones that gets used quite often. So the inferred consent is when logically you can go, well, they've purchased from me. They've actually engaged with my business in one way or another. And therefore it's inferred consent that they want to hear from me because they've actually engaged with me. But this is where you do just have your little backup in your terms and conditions as well, to go that you do contact clients through in your customers database through your emails. It's also under the privacy policy. The third one as well is there's what's called deemed consent as well. So it's, I think inferred and deemed are quite close together, but it's again just sort of relying on that you feel, because of existing relationships with these people, or how you're sort of working with them, that there's a deemed consent there that they would want to receive information from you as well in terms of email marketing. So lots of information out there. NZ Marketing Association has some really good tips around email marketing consent. So I'd suggest hitting up their website.
Awesome, thank you. I think the key there for me is that there's different types of consent and that you need to look into, and also how that relates to your terms of and conditions.
Yes.
Not just a legal sign up. Yeah.
Yes.
So it can be complex. I just wanted to say though, I bought a high chair because of lockdown. I've got my grandbaby in my bubble, and I've bought a high chair and it's going to be delivered. And I really, really loved that I got a order confirmation last night, but I came in this morning and had gotten an email from the owners of the business thanking me for shopping local and for supporting a small couple business. And I really loved that. I thought, you know, when you're sending that sort of email, I don't really need the consent, right? Because you're just expressing thanks to people. It was a really lovely touch to that funnel. Yeah.
Definitely. And that's where emails really help with customer service and that service experience. And why I made such a big point about thank you emails, because everyone loves being appreciated and your customers love it the most. I mean, I touched on at the start about power companies and things like that, where existing customers always feel like they're not cared about, because that's not there. That it's always about getting new customers, but they also work in industries where it's common for people to come and go, you know, flick of the switch, come and go. So, you know, it's kind of what's expected there. But for small to medium businesses, those little touches could mean everything to someone.
Brilliant. We've got a question. With lockdown, is it overload to send emails 2 to 3 times a week? We do spiritual health, so targeting people at home with tips on health and special buy now offers. So it's an interesting one. So you're in a highly stressed situation. Is it overload to send 2 or 3 emails in the week? And it might be quite different answer compared to someone in a different business, right? But this particular business is about trying to help people with mental health.
Yeah, and that's what I was sort of looking at. So I think for potentially your industry, if 2 to 3 emails during a lockdown period could actually be really helpful. I would say if you're more based on tips and tricks though, so maybe, oh, here's a 5-minute guide to sort of, you know, relax and breathe. It's something that I look at sometimes, just to go, how can I de-stress right now? You know, the weather in Auckland's been pouring with rain. I can't just quickly go out for a walk. So I'm trying to go, how else can I de-stress from my work day? Because not only can I not go to the gym, I can't go out, I can't do anything. I need to find ways that I can de-stress. So something like that can be helpful 2 to 3 times a week. But if every single one's also, and buy this, or here's something to purchase, I think that would wear me down. So you've just got to strategically go maybe twice a week of tips and tricks. And then on the third one, there's tips and tricks. And also, hey, we offer this service if you're struggling a little, you know, so that's sort of the way to look at it. But during normal times, that could be considered too much. So once a week might be better. So yeah, very much just, you would know your customers probably better than what we do, but it would be based on your industry and the need, depending on what's going on. Like coming up to Christmas, very common to see e-commerce sites slamming out those sales and those emails to go, here's our best products, here's what's best to buy for dad, here's what's best to buy for your sister. That sort of thing happens at that time, and it's common to see, whereas during the rest of the year, maybe not as many emails.
So context is a big thing with frequency.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what my next questions were, is the frequency of sending out just a plain newsletter. What would you recommend? And I guess, when you're sending out a newsletter, does it matter how does the frequency relate to like the segment, the customer segment at all?
I think it definitely does. So if someone signed up for a service through you, and your service, you see them once a month or something, there might be tips and tricks you can give them each week to help with what you're doing or something like that. Okay, so that's where it's really useful to have these customer segments that are broken down to be very specific. If I go back to your newsletter, sorry, I've already said my answer. I generally, most industries, monthly is what's going to work, because otherwise you're trying to find content a lot of the time, because that's the other thing, you've actually got to have something to share. And yes, you can repurpose it after 6 to 8 months. You could bring up the same things you did 6-8 months ago, but ultimately, if you need to look at how often you would generally engage with these people, and then how often they should hear from you. Now, I mean, it comes down to sort of what you find works for you. I follow a influencer on Instagram. They do personal training and all of that, and I follow them because of their gym guides to help give tips and tricks at the gym. But they send emails every day. So there's someone who actually sends an email every day, and that's what they've found most beneficial. But their emails, because they've only got their personal brand to worry about, their emails are very, I guess, random. So their emails can kind of go from, talking about personal training, talking about tips and tricks in the gym, to talking about just general life things that pop up. So that's because of their brand and their industry and what they work best. They're trying to create that personal connection, whereas for a larger company or a company that's maybe not a personal brand, it is a bit different in terms of email marketing and how often you'd send it. So I would always suggest that people start off once a month, see what the results are, and see if you change it to twice a month, if the engagement drops or not, and then sort of play around with it a little.
I kind of think too is that there isn't a good thing. Newsletters are a good thing. They're very useful and can be very effective. But what I find more effective is targeted emails in relation to the buying funnel. Like I was saying, this thank you one, because I've bought the high chair, I've bought something else, and then I've had an email about reviewing the product, and then I've had another email in relation to that about cross-selling accessories to that product, and they keep me engaged far more than a newsletter. So I guess a lot of them are because I've already purchased.
Yes.
So yeah, it's an interesting way that you've got two purposes to the whole email thing, is to try and keep people engaged, but trying to get customer retention as well is a huge thing. Even though they've purchased from you, how do you get them to come back?
Yeah, definitely. And that's where, rather than focusing on email frequency, I would take it back to focusing on your customer segments and making sure that those are split up correctly, so then you can target them in a way that's going to meet their needs better.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. I think we've gone way over than what we normally do, so I do appreciate everybody's patience with us. I'm just going to kind of close up now, but what we do know from, and what we've learned from this presentation from Lisa, is email marketing remains one of the best tools to attract new customers and for customer retention, and set up automated emails to suit specific customer groups or customer actions. And our prediction is that emails used well increase a business customers' loyalty and engagement. It is our recommendation to segment your customer database, ensuring that your email communications suit each group, then work on setting up automated emails for specific parts of the buying funnel. So thank you so much for joining us today. And in just a bit of a roundup, Zeld has helped over 15,000 businesses transform digitally over the last 20 years. I've been working for Zeld for 12 years, which is crazy long time, but I've seen how Zeld has helped a lot of businesses. If you'd like support in setting up marketing automation or anything around what was being presented today, please get in contact with us, and one of our digital business strategists will be able to help you with a free audit and assessment. We have launched our Get e-commerce movement as part of the COVID outbreak last year, and we're continuing with it, where we offer free websites for e-commerce sites, service and charity businesses with no sale, no hosting fee arrangements for the first 12 months. If you'd like to know more about that, again, please look at zeld.com for more information and get in touch, and refer friends and family that this might help. This is just one of our clients that got the gem site, Robin's Cottage, who had just a brick and mortar store and got online through the first COVID, and it has helped her business survive. Our next webinar is on September the 22nd. Oh, it's not moving for me for some reason. I'm not sure why. Might be my computer's having a major meltdown right now. But anyway, our next webinar is on September 22nd at 10 a.m. It's called Messenger Marketing Tips for Increasing Conversions and Building Your Online Community. Discover how you can leverage messenger marketing and how it works on both Facebook and Instagram to reach and nurture customers and build a strong online community. So this is not just an online chat. Messenger marketing is quite a different thing, and it's worth coming along to just to find out a little more about it, the technology involved. Just wanted to say a special thank you to Lisa for all your wisdom and knowledge. Really appreciate it. If you've missed part of the webinar or would like to see it again, we will be posting a video of this webinar on our YouTube channel and on zeld.com, and we'll be emailing it out to you today. If you know anyone that might benefit from these webinars, please refer them to them. We just want to help as many people as possible, especially in these tough times. And I wish you all a safe and happy week, and good luck with lockdown.
Thanks, Rhonda. See you.
Yes, bye.